Okay, so quickly, IPV, right? Intimate partner violence. Some call it domestic violence.
Yeah.
How is it distinct from any other kind of violence? Is it still violence? Yes or no? So it's violence, right? Violence is violence, right? So the assumption is that when we're in a partnership with somebody, we do not assume that the person will actually do us some harm. But also, when we're in partnership with somebody, we often take them for granted. We begin to abuse people. It doesn't matter necessarily what it is, who it is, who they are. When we become accustomed to somebody, we actually begin to take them for granted over a period of time. Does that make sense? We begin to assume that they will always be there and do things for them. But also, as I mentioned earlier, when we haven't worked out things within ourselves, we often begin to work things out with one another. And when we bring our junk together, sometimes that junk comes laden with some other things. Typically, males will become physical, and women will do what?
Right.
All right. Say it again. Women will withdraw. Men will become physical. Typically, women will do talking. Thank you very much. I see in the back. She was doing it. As a matter of fact, I was in Haiti, and the judge said something that was said. He said, "Bouche femme." Bouche femme, femme means woman's mouth, right? And she was saying some derogatory things about the man. That was why the court case was where it was. It's not like it happened. The point is that is how it goes down. Now, which one do we see the most scars from? Right, physical. Which one has the longest lasting scars? Right, think about it. Pause for a moment. Right, we often are very, very accountable for the physical scars. Oh, here's what happened, and here's where I was hit. Everybody in this room, you don't have to tell me anything about your story. Everyone in this room has had something to damage them emotionally that somebody said to them, and still live with it today. I don't care who you are, I don't care how wonderful you look. Everybody in this room has, somebody said something that has hurt you, and then every now and then, if I say the wrong thing, that scab will come off of it, and then it's like, whoa. I know I got some stuff that was said. I told you one of them was what? Your hair is nappy. Who's your pet, right? That's an emotional scar. Right? Am I angry with my father? No, I'm not. I don't care because I know that he did not intend for it to be something terrible. But what I do know is that it was an emotional event for me as a child when I'm thinking about certain things, right? So we all have those things. Now, so IPV is this way, right? So if we all have the stuff coming together, how do we then choose to emote with one another? Sometimes we emote in a physical manner. So somebody may emote verbally. Tear someone down, somebody may emote physically. And I want to be clear about this. We often discuss, because it occurs in a different rate, we discuss clearly males and males hitting females. All the time we talk about that. Well, I understand that there are times when males are actually physically aggressed against by females. Right? One of my narratives is, I was married to someone. This person started to aggress against me while I was driving the car. I pulled the car over. I stopped and I make a phone call. I'm asking for the police to come to follow me home so that I can get my things and I can leave. Right? Because this is not going anywhere very quickly. The police officer came over. Again, this is in the South, this is in Texas this time. And he said, "You mean to tell me that she hit you?" And he started laughing. Right? So here's a situation where I'm aggressive against. I'm saying, just follow me to my house. All I want to do is do this so I get my stuff so I can, I got things I want to get back to work. And we're going to address this later. This is not going anywhere. It's not going to end up anywhere. Now, if I had hit her, would he have walked away so So the point I want to make is that it goes in many directions. We often discuss it in one direction. I'm not saying that we shouldn't. It's very important. But know that, that violence occurs on multiple levels. And I was suggesting also that physical violence is very important, significant because it can cause harm to health and life. Also understand that there's other harms that occur verbally and other forms of violence that we often don't talk about, but they're very dangerous. And many times things get physical because of the other stuff, the verbal stuff. The most important part of the danger to recognize is that if somebody decides to use some language against you that's not pleasant, they've already decided to aggress against your well-being. Okay? Follow me closely. When somebody has decided to defame your being by calling you something outside of the name of your humanity, they've already made a decision as to what else they will do. Because the assault on your character is the most damaging assault that you can have. The physical one is the one that is the deadliest. I want to be clear. Damaging is one where somebody verbally aggresses against you. And we understand that anytime somebody engages in battle, they typically use words that are negative first and then they attack. Are you following? Somebody calls you out your name first. Why you mother, right? They call you out your name and then they what? You don't know who the hell you and the language. You must be out of your mind. The language precipitates what? The physicality. You got that? So be clear that if you are utilizing language against somebody else, then you too are engaging in what? Violence. And often we get caught, but let's deal with the basic violence. So in Haiti and other places, IUV seems to occur where men are dissatisfied with themselves, dissatisfied with women, they aggress against them, and because we learned in the Western countries that women are what? The weaker sex. And so there is the assault. Women typically will stay in relationships because of a variety of reasons, but one of them is because of the biological. Understand that relationships not only are one of physicality, but we begin to, we lock in people through smells, pheromones and other things, right? So we lock in, that stimulates the brain. And sexual relationships are not simply physiological, they also are neurochemical. Right? So we can become addicted to one another. Are you following me? You can become an addiction to me. And in an addicted state, I will accept certain things that will not accept if I was not addicted. So let's be clear. All these things are going on at one time. So you say, well, why do you just say that? All you have to do is leave. No, but you don't understand that it's deeper than simply being or not being there. There are a lot of things happening on multiple levels. And the chemical one is one of them. The identity part is another one. Who am I? So all these things are going on at one time. So we have to understand those things. In a cultural context, we have to understand that manhood is often challenged around a variety of factors. If a man's identity is tied to his doing, and women are tied to their being, then if you interfere with his doing, it becomes problematic for his existence. Yeah. Give you an example. Women can get up and go to the restroom together. True or false? Yeah. Men, do we go to the restroom together? Okay? Do you see, right? We had never talked about this, but we did in the hallway and discussed it. Right? But why? Because there's something about that doing activity that we don't share, right? You all can go and you can be together. I worked in the hospital where I had to clean the restrooms, so I would go in and we were there.